Okay, so it's been a little while, but I've come across something. It actually was a dream I had, but it was very interesting. So I've noticed, if you're like me, you would have noticed how as time has kind of gone on since 2014, there's been more and more, shall we say, notices going on. But as I research privately a few things, I'm kind of worried about something because everything is kind of like getting out of hand. Like, I don't understand why they would allow so many notices to kind of just, you know, do their stuff on YouTube. Like, ever since 2023, I've noticed a large uptick in, shall we say, noticer channels, and also like conspiracy channels gaining momentum. And you see, before, like even before 2018, the stuff was out there, but it wasn't on like these public domains like YouTube, or you wouldn't find these things in Google. But now it seems like it's not hard for you to find these things. And I don't think this is a good thing. I think it's because something is actually going to happen. I know nothing ever happens, right? The meme. But I don't think that is the case. I think something will happen. But who knows what it will be? Certainly not I. Only the masters know. And the overlords, the archons that rule this hell realm. Only they know. But I've been doing a lot of research into reset theory. And it seems like they don't care anymore how many people kind of know, because essentially they think their power is complete. It could be, who knows? Not I. But I have this feeling that they're allowing these things to take place because, as in, they're allowing the notices to make YouTube videos or whatever. Even like in Telegram and stuff. I've been on Telegram for a long time, and I've noticed how like there's been more and more channels popping up, and I'm thinking to myself, they wouldn't really allow this. Yes, it's hard to find if you're not looking. And yes, there's so many normgroids that it doesn't really matter. It's kind of like, if you've ever read that Ray Bradbury book, Fahrenheit 451, it's like no one reads anymore anyway, and books are burned. It's kind of like that. So you've got such a large portion of the population that's like dullards, and only a select few. But the fact that they're allowing the select few to be able to think and to see and to learn certain things, that kind of bothers me, because there's a reason why they're allowing this. I have this feeling, because something might actually happen. I don't know what. Maybe a world reset, a flood, something. I don't know. Not like a Christian, a Fagston flood. I mean, like some kind of orchestration by harp. But I don't. Like if I was the master, I wouldn't allow this. Or if I was allowing this, it would be because time is coming to a close. So it doesn't even matter if they know, because we're gonna try and kill them anyway. This is the way I'm thinking about it. Because I'm like one of these lurkers. I just lurk. I don't really make content or nothing. I got my own problems and I got my own shit going on. So like for me, I don't even care about the money. Fuck money, right? This is about venting, right? I just like to vent. So this is what my channel is. But if I was in their shoes, I always think about it like that. Like, what would I do? How would I view it if I was Jewish? Okay. And I would view it like, these goyim are noticing, right? Shut it down, whatever. I don't think so, right? I think they're allowing this to a degree because they've got something planned. And yeah, so let me tell you about my dream. So I had this dream where I was actually in Iran, like the Iran war going on, whatever. I was in Iran, and I was sitting in a truck with three fellow goys, and there was a Mossad agent. And what was really kind of like striking about the dream, we were sitting in the back of like a truck, right? Like a bucky. If you're South African, you know what a bucky is, right? We're sitting in the back of a truck, a bucky. And there was three of us, three goy, and we all had we had a separate uniform to the Mossad agent, who also, so we're all carrying guns, helmets, all that stuff, like as if you're going into the field. But he wasn't wearing a helmet. He wasn't dressed like us. He was kind of like, his camo was like blue and black, and he had a different weapon. And what was happening is we were talking to this guy, and he was speaking so nicely to us. He was like, oh yes, we're gonna go do this, we're gonna do that. And someone said something like, oh, do you want a bit of this? Maybe it was bacon or something, and suddenly the whole mood changed. He was like, no, you stupid goy, you need to do this. And then like a second later, he was back to like praising us as heroes and saying, oh, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. And I was thinking, like, this guy he's not even gonna be here when we get off this truck. He knows we're gonna go off to die, and he's laughing about it, but he's gonna speak easy with us, because white people are easy fooled when you speak easy to them. But he knows. And the thing is, as well, what was weird in the dream was he was a very good looking Jew. And I'm not saying I'm not a homosexual, okay? I'm just saying he was like incredibly good looking, and we were kind of like average people. Like, I'm an average looking person. And that was very weird. And I noticed that he wasn't like Jewish looking. He was kind of like stolen genetics looking, which was very weird. And that was kind of like, that was very strange. So when I woke up, I actually wrote about that in my journal. I was like, nah, this dream is kind of like, see, sometimes I think about my dreams, and they stay with me. I think about them for like weeks, days, and I try to kind of like understand why I'm dreaming, what am I dreaming, and I try and like understand like the setting. So we were in this truck, like off to wherever, World War III, whatever the fuck. And we had this master operative with us, basically like trying to, he was being very friendly with us. But there was something was said, or someone, it wasn't me, I was just watching, listening, because obviously I know. But everyone else was trying to impress this guy, but they had no idea that this motherfucker is going to send us off to our deaths, and he's just going to go chill, and we're going to fucking die. And I was kind of like, I don't understand why. I thought about that for a long time. I thought about that today when I went swimming. And I was like, nah, it's because there's something planned. Either that, or it's because they've reached like a level of hubris where they think they can't lose. That kind of like, that thought stuck in my mind as I was doing my laps. And then I was kind of like, what the fuck is, like, what even is this bullshit war? Because it's not about anything. It's like another boomer mind blockage, They're paying attention to that so that they're not paying attention to this. So I've noticed how there's all these like, now this has been going on for like decades, obviously. This is nothing new, but I've noticed like an uptick in this. There's like a super like boomer mind control program that's been like executed or whatever. Because like I speak to my grandparents and I ask them about certain things, and I always try and gauge where they're at in terms of like how they think about like political stuff or whatever. and I'm not even political. Political is a charade. Politics is a charade. But they were kind of like so enamored by like something that they wouldn't even have considered even a few months ago. And that's their generation. And then I noticed how, like, for my parents' generation, they're trying to keep them busy, 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 busy. Like, with all this inflation and all this whatever, they're just grinding. They're just grinding. Whereas, so we got the boomers basically being mind wiped, okay? Then we got, like, the generation beyond, lower, the Gen X, who are basically being ground out, so they have no time to think, because essentially they are the next step. But you see, the masses don't even want them to be the next step for our people. They kind of want, whenever the boomers die, that's when they want their victory to be complete. So they're grinding out the middle generation, and then my generation, we're not even involved in society. We're like outcasts. Like, I'm a pariah. Fuck, man. I'm a crazy person. I'm legitimately a crazy person. Okay, I don't even listen to fucking anything if it's not schizo adjacent. Nothing. Because even throughout my whole life, I've kind of always asked questions, and I've always kind of like wondered about things. Like, I remember this was something like, I was thinking back, I was discussing this with my friend a few weeks ago, how whenever we worked together, because me and my best friend, we worked together for a time. This was back in 2016. And I was really getting into like the decline of testosterone in males, and like, what can we do to prevent this? So I was making sure I was drinking out of a glass. I had a metal water bottle. I was like one of the first people I knew, like out of everyone I've known, to have a metal water bottle. I've had it for like years, a decade at this point, right? Like microplastics. I was researching all this crap like 10 years before people are now talking about it. Like, my grandparents are only now talking about like fluoridation in the water, things I was like screaming at them 10 years ago. Okay, so they're keeping each generation in like a locked state, so that we can't, like, shall we say, coalesce, so that information cannot flow down or up, or if it does, it's incorrect. Basically, that's the way I see it. And I'm kind of thinking like, this is for a reason. It's because like my generation is starting to notice hardcore. I've been noticing for years, but like the lower IQ, the midwits and whatever, they're only starting to kind of see it. And I was like, it brings me back to that quote by George Orwell in 1984. He says, revolution or change only comes from the proletariat. Now, if you think about that, the reason that is the case is because the proletariat, or shall we say the working class, is the super majority, and when I say like working class, I'm also like combining that with like intellect levels. So like the vast majority of people sit in the middle of the IQ bell curve. Very few sit on the high end or the low end. You'll know this anyway if you're in line with these topics. But I lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah. So basically, they're keeping the normgroid like as pacified as possible while feeding like incorrect information. But then they also cannot stop the noticing. Like, the normgroid at some point, if they have even a sliver of divinity, will notice something, even if it's not, shall we say, JQ or WQ or whatever. They'll notice something. And for people like us, like people like us who've been talking about this stuff, or trying to warn people about this stuff for years, like, where's our due? We don't get it. But this is by design, like super isolation, super separation, basically. That's the way I see it, because they're planning some kind of event. I swear, I can feel it, man. Like, even when I dream lately, okay, like I don't remember all my dreams. Certain dreams I will remember, like the one with the me chilling in the back of the truck with the fellow guys. I remember that one. But like most of the time I don't remember my dreams. I have brief flashes throughout the day about what I dream about. But like if I have a dream where it's like pretty vivid, I will try and remember it the whole day so I can write it down on my phone or something, because I want to analyze it, because I think like something's happened to my conscious mind. Like I'm not the same person I used to be. Okay, I'm not the same person. I'm like a different person. I'm like I don't even know how to explain, but because of that, uh, yeah. Well, we'll not get into that. But basically, like noticing really kind of like over time changed the way I even viewed everything. Like I used to be a very social person. I used to go out and like talk to people all the time and like go to the gym every day and do all this stuff. Now, dude, I don't even leave the house, man. I don't fucking go anywhere, right? I'll go to like the gym for a swim, I'll go to the shop, and I'll come back home and I'll read, or I'll do drawings or something, or play games. Like I don't go outside, because I can actually see now. It's like when Neo sees the code in the Matrix, I can like see all the lies. I can see all the divides. Like, I'll tell you something, right? It was one day, right? I actually walked down the street where I stay, and it's like a row of houses along there. And like, for some reason, man, like, I don't understand this, right? Tangent, but basically, why the fuck do people leave their curtains open at night? Okay, like, if you leave your curtains open at night, I'm gonna look in your house because the light's on, like everything's dark and your fucking thing is light. Of course I'm gonna look in. So all these fucks had their curtains open, okay, and they all had their TV sitting in the same place as well, in the one corner of the room. And the way I was walking, I could see every television, right? And they were all watching the same show. Every fucking house had the same television program on. And I literally paused and I was like, holy crap, man. That was a big kind of event for me to realize just how stunad people are, basically. So something I think will happen. So, the fact that the noticing is being spread, be watchful, because there's something is afoot. Mark my words.